Recognize that tune, and you know it's time for Relics Radio. This is a family-friendly show, so the entire family can join us as we talk metal detecting and relic hunting. You can call into the show at 270-495-0315 or join in the chat and post any comments or questions you might have, and we'll get to as many of them as we can. You're listening to Relics Radio of Southern Kentucky and Middle Tennessee. All right, it's Thursday night again, and you are listening live to Relics Radio here on Spreaker. We've got a good show lined up tonight. Got Tennessee Jeff in the house, and we've got J.L. Digger out of Ohio. Hey, guys, are y'all on the line there?
Yes, I'm right here, and I'm finally back. It's good to be back. So, I missed all the comments and talking to everyone, so, I mean, I really missed it, but I'm back for a while now, hopefully.
Well, good. Are you there, Jeremy?
Yes, sir, I am here.
Good deal. Good deal. We've got everybody in, and it seems like everything's working just the way it ought to work. Already got Larry Stevens in the house. Already got Chris Heimsoff. Got Paul Forsay. And got our buddy Dave Miller in the house. And we've got a good show. I've hunted, and Bill McDougall just came in. I'll try to watch the chat and try to watch Skype and everything else. I'm in the studio here all by myself. There's Jordan Anderson coming in. I guess my chat will lock up. Josh said it does that whenever you get up around 350. And there's Jeff Ford in the house. Talk about Jeff in a moment, but and Tim Henderson is in. Wow, we got everybody in quick here tonight. We
do. We really do. I'm sitting here looking at it, and then hopefully after yours locks up, I can go ahead and continue. I know I seen the last week's show. We had 588 comments, so I mean that was real good.
Oh, it's a good show.
I'm glad y'all done a real good job.
Yeah.
So,
Jeremy, how's things been going with you, buddy?
I've been really busy with work, but other than that, things are going pretty well.
As most of you may know, if you've watched my channel on YouTube for any length of time, I guess it was a couple of years ago, probably in 2016, whenever you and Joe came down here to Kentucky and hunted.
Yeah, in October 2016.
And I got to meet both you guys, and I'll just tell you something other now. Jeremy is serious about metal detecting. He was using an E-Track then. Is that what you're still using?
Yeah, E-Track.
You like that machine? I guess you do. You've still got it.
Yeah, I do. It's a different machine to figure out, but I think once you figure it out, and I run my own custom program that works really well, I think that makes a big difference. You got to put the hours in on the machine to learn it and figure out what it's trying to tell you.
You do, and if you don't mind, if you'll kind of give us just a clue as to what your personal program is on that. What do you change on the E-Track?
Well, I run maximum sensitivity everywhere I hunt, and I know a lot of guys probably don't do that, but I want to hear everything and try to get the most depth out of the machine, and I run a fairly open screen. I run 25 to 27 on my screen, so because I like to hear everything, and then once I hunt a site, and get the brass and the silver targets out, then I'll open on up and go back later and pick through some of the iron, because, you know, you can find a lot of pretty neat relics in the iron.
You can, and Jeff and I.
You sure can. That's me. Yeah, that's what Seven and I we hunt the iron a lot. I mean, we love hunting iron patches, and the more square nails, the better. I mean, of course, you're not going to find good relics unless you're hunting in old iron patches, most likely. So.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, we run of course, we're running AT Pros. I was running my CTX whenever I hunted with you guys, or was I using AT Pro? I was using AT Pro, wasn't I? Because we was hunting some colonial sites. I can't remember.
Yeah, you have the AT Pro. I remember because I could hear that thing over top of my headphones.
Well, now that was before you and I met, wasn't it, Seven? You guys hunted together. What did you say, 2016?
No, you and I had hunted because you came to that site just a couple of 3 weeks after they left, and we hunted back up in 5 Mile Holler at that second house. In fact, Jeremy, what was it? A week after you left, I found my first large scent on that site.
Yeah, right.
Okay, yeah.
You remember where you found a barber dime right along the creek bank on that, I guess, kind of the road that was coming into that house. Well, if you go on up toward that old tree, that's where I found that large scent, but it only went one way. And, I could only hear it one way, so I think the thing was probably up on edge. And talking about that, congratulations to Plugmaster Ford. I watched his video today, and he found his first large scent. Now, you guys up there in Ohio, you're going to laugh at us because that's the only time that I've ever seen Jeff Ford all nervous, and you could hear the shaking in his voice. You could see the shaking in his hand, and I know exactly how he felt because I sat right down there on the ground and just admired mine. And then, Jeremy, I think I sent you a text even whenever with a picture of it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And so
there's nothing like finding your first large scent.
Yeah, but you've got sites there that you guys find 3 or 4 a hunt. What's the most you ever found in one hunt?
The most I found at one site is 6 in one hunt.
Goodness.
6 in one hunt. That'll weigh you down. You get 6 large scents in one hunt. And then I can remember my first one. It was at a Civil War campsite here next to the house. And then, I mean, I jumped up and down. You would have thought I'd found a gold coin, but it was just a large scent. And then after that, I'd found maybe a handful more. But, I mean, 6 in one hunt, that's an awesome hunt. For us, anyway.
That's an awesome hunt for anybody.
Yeah.
But
I see we got Mike in the house, and there's Jeff. We got Jeff in the house.
Yeah, I seen Jeff there a while ago. What kind of sites do you mainly hunt now, Jeremy?
Well, used to, really up until I met you, I did a lot of silver hunting, so I did a lot of door knocking. But the kind of sites you and I and Jeff that we all hunt, that's really the main reason I got into metal detecting, because those are the kind of sites I wanted to hunt. And it's a lot of research, and it takes a lot of time to find those sites, but if that's what you're looking for, it's well worth it when you get on a good one.
I know right after you left here, you got on some good old colonial sites up there in some cornfields, wasn't it? Some of the Ohio cornfields.
Yeah.
And
right. Yes.
And I could see a transition in your videos and in your kind of hunting, and I kind of thought, you and I talked quite a bit whenever you were down here, and when we were hunting together, and I could tell that you really wanted to get into that kind of hunting, and it does. It takes a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, but I really enjoy it. I mean, the door knocking's fine and looking for Mercury dimes and Roosevelt dimes, but that's not what I originally wanted to get into metal detecting for. But I'll still do it from time to time. It's fun, but the older the better for me. I just have a passion for for our early settlement history.
Yeah, I do too, and I know that Jeff does.
Yep.
And
yeah. Guys, when you go out hunting, of course, when I first started, I started looking for Civil War artifacts, and then, of course, I've been blessed right here at the house. We had a lot of troop movement, but you go swinging through a field all day long and not finding anything, you get tired, and I mean, it's kind of discouraging. Yeah. But if you're hunting old home sites, I mean, you're guaranteed to find something. It may not be the best find ever, but I mean, you are guaranteed to find something. So I mean, I can understand a lot of people starting hunting home sites, but I mean, some of the best home sites that Seven and I have run across, we've just been swinging in the field and then happened to run across them. Isn't that right, Seven?
Yeah. And Chris Hamsoff has got a question for Jeremy. He said, do you find colonial and the War of 1812 stuff?
Yeah. You remember that site? I texted you some pictures of the War of 1812 buttons. You identified the U.S. one for me.
Yeah.
That site
go ahead.
Had a mix of years of development there, and I found Tomback buttons, War of 1812 buttons, and things post Civil War on that site. So there was a lot of history and activity on that site.
And you sent me a text too. You were hunting that place was on the corner, and then there was a spot across the highway, another site I think that you and Joe found whenever y'all went back. But then you text me a picture of something that you found along the side of the road, and you said, I was digging aluminum cans. And you do that, along the side of the road. People just throw them out, and they'll get plowed under. And you said that you had dug a few of those, but then you found something exceptional, didn't you?
Yes, I did. It was my first ever 2 real. Yep, and it sounded just like the aluminum cans, right along the side of the road that I was digging. But it had, you can tell the difference. It's got a little bit tighter pitch to it, especially when you pinpoint. But I thought I was digging a deep, can.
Well, that just goes to show you got to dig it all, don't you?
Yeah, I dig a lot of holes everywhere I hunt. Even if it's along the side of the road, because if I'd have skipped over that signal thinking it was an aluminum can, I would have never found probably my first 2 real.
Yeah. Is that the only real that you found, or have you found some more?
That's the only complete one. But when Joe flew in this past October, we both found 2 pieces of cut reals.
That's good. And I seen the video where you found 2 in one video. And I mean, that was a great find, pretty much back to back. And I've done that one time here close to the house, and then of course they were like maybe a quarter of the real, and then but I mean they were pretty much back to back. That's the only time I'd ever done that. But it's always great if you can do that.
Yeah, the pieces we both found. Joe found 2 pieces, and I found 2 pieces. I found both of mine on the same day, and the funny thing about that was, I know you guys have dug cut 8 Spanish. All 4 of these pieces were cut 2 reals, so altogether we found a complete 2 real.
Well, that's great.
Well, yep. Seven, we've got a new listener in there, Scott Woodall, Tennessee Digging Safari.
Hey.
He's got a Mine Lab Safari. Him and I, we've hunted together several times. He lives up town a little north of here. And then we're going to welcome Scott in the house.
Yeah. Welcome, Scott. Good to have you on tonight. No, I've found I don't know how many pieces of cut silver, Spanish silver that I've found, probably 5 or 6, I guess, over the past 3 years, and every one of mine are cut 8s. And even I've got one that, and the only reason that I know that is, and I guess a lot of people do this, I would bring the piece in and put it on a piece of, just put it on a piece of paper and trace it out, and then just keep working it around and trace it, and then you finally get the hole, and you can tell what you had, and every one of mine were 8s. I
thought I was the only one that done that.
No, everybody does that. I mean, that's just, that's kind of the only way that
I just thought you stole it from me. What's up?
I never seen you do that before. Forrest Annette is in the house tonight.
Well, hello, Forrest.
Jeremy,
Forrest.
what's the best find that you have ever found?
Well, I brought that down to you and showed it to you, and it's one of my favorite relics is that cannonball.
I figured that was still your favorite.
Yeah, that would be almost anybody's. I mean, that's a great find.
It is.
Yeah, and I've dug some nice buckles, Civil War officers' sword belt buckle, and I did find a 1750s Spanish carbine sling buckle. That's probably one of my favorite buckles.
Yeah. What about on buttons? What's your favorite button that you found? I know that you love. The reason I asked is because I know you love buttons as much as I do. And if you went out, if you went out and hunted and all you found was old flat buttons or War of 1812, you'd be just tickled to death.
Oh yeah, my favorite buttons are. They have to be my War of 1812 infantry and U.S. buttons.
Now, I can't remember. I know you sent me a picture for me to ID. Was yours a script eye?
Yeah, a script eye.
Now, Jeff found one of those. And
yeah, it's good find.
Yeah.
I love anything War of 1812. I mean, of course, we don't find a lot of it here, but I mean, every now and then you would get into a old home site or around an old well is where I found a few of them. And then on the rock wall that Seven I hunted a while back, I mean, that's where I found that one at. But I've got a script A, and then, of course, the artillery. I've got 3 artillery buttons and from a local home site here, and I've got to find out who owned that home back in the earliest to see if I can find out who the soldier was. So, but yeah, anything War of 1812 is nice.
Yeah,
because that was really the second war of our independence. A lot of people don't know that, and our Star Spangled Banner was not written for the 1776 Revolution. It was written for the War of 1812 at the around Baltimore, and a lot of people don't know that, and I didn't until I researched it. And I did that research whenever Jeff found the script I War of 1812 button, and I learned something every time I do a history clip. But I love history, don't you?
And I learn something every time I watch your history clips.
And I do too.
And I do too, putting them together. I learn something every time. Jeremy, tell us, how do you approach a brand new site? First of all, how do you find them? And then how do you approach them?
Well, I do a lot of my research on Historic Map Works, and our maps go back to 1875, and I'll generally locate the sites of interest on the map, and then I'll go try to find the property owner and just be upfront with people, in my opinion. And most generally, everybody you run into are really nice folks, and I just tell them I love history and what I'm doing and metal detecting, and And I'll even offer for them to keep the fines, if they want, just because I get a lot of pleasure from just digging the targets and
Mm-hmm.
I usually have a lot of luck with permissions. I don't get turned down very often.
How do you go about, though, after you've done your research and after you locate a site? Technically, how do you take your detector and go into a site? Do you scan the whole site at first, or are you looking for a debris field, or do you just when you first get into it, you just work slow? How do you go about all that?
Yeah, I mean, because the maps they'll only get you so close. I'll generally go in with my machine wide open, looking for an iron patch, and and I'll even ask the farmers if they know of any old wells on the property, or if they've plowed any pottery, things like that everybody needs to look for when they get in the field. And I'll just go in and until I start hitting an iron patch, and then I'll just start working that area. And next thing you know, you're digging good finds.
Do you target one certain type of thing to start with and then change your settings and everything as you progress on a site?
Well, I will run my machine wide open until I hit the iron, and then I'll start discriminating a little bit. And as I start hunting that site, if it's an open invitation to come back, I'll keep going back, and I'll just keep opening my machine up every time I go back. And you start digging more iron, but it's nice to have the option to go back and clean a site out like that.
It is. Me and Jeff have been
See,
doing.
That's most of my sites. We've been lucky that a lot of my sites we can just go back anytime we want, and a lot of them we can excavate, and I mean we can get down to clay if we want to. So I mean that helps out a whole lot. If you've got a permission, you can go back to anytime without any questions. So, but I mean, with the sites if you get like a 1-day permission, then you may have to hit the good signals first, and maybe go back.
Yeah. But my best advice to anybody, and a lot of guys that's been hunting a long time like you guys, I mean, once you find that iron patch, I really go slow, and that's the only way you're gonna pick out those small deep targets. You got to slow down, take your time, and it really works well.
It does. I call it stupid slow is what I call it. It was a guy was talking to me, and he was like, well, how slow do you go? And I said, just call it stupid slow, because you're going, just slow. So, and that's just the way I do it around the iron patches.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, and the mine labs.
Go ahead.
The mine labs are a slow processing machine anyway, but I'll tell you, I mean, I think they'll really make you a better detectorist, because you have to cooperate with that machine.
You do, and the mine lab machines are processing. I know with E-Track and CTX, they are processing so much information that you've got to give them time to work. You can't hurry them up, and the slower that you go.
Yeah.
And Bill McDougall brings in a good point. He said in the iron patch, for me, he uses a 5-inch coil. What coil do you change coils? What coil do you use?
Yeah, I will run the stock coil most generally when I get to a site, and I'm like anybody. I'll cherry pick the first day, and then when I go back, I'll put my 5.5 by 9.5 nail sharpshooter on there and get in between the iron.
Yeah, that makes a big difference, I tell you. Jeff,
it does. That little 5 by 8 coil for the AT Pro. I mean, it it's a world of difference from the stock coil. So, and then of course
Yeah.
I have the little hockey puck for the AT Pro, but I really like the 5x8 better with it being double D.
How many different?
Those nail coils, they'll surprise you on depth.
That's what I was going to ask
They
you.
sure will.
Are you losing any depth that you can tell whenever you go to a smaller coil?
Well, something I've learned myself with the E-Track, what I'll do when I switch to a smaller coil, I'll open that machine up a couple more numbers when I put the smaller coil on to gain that inch or so depth that I'm losing. So you can kind of make up for it just by adjusting the machine. So overall, I mean, you may lose an inch of depth or so, but a lot of what I find is a lot of these sites I hunt, unless it's been deep plowed, everything's within, 4 to 7, 8 inches down. So you're going to find that pretty much with a small coil, regardless.
And you bring up a good point for beginners, especially that don't understand. When you run discrimination, you're actually cutting your depth down because you're making your machine process through something. And it took me a long time to learn that. And, me and Jeff on the AT Pros, we run those things wide open now, regardless of what coil that we're using. But you'll lose depth with discrimination.
Yeah, you sure will.
You sure will.
That's why I like running pretty much an open screen. I mean, it's noisy, but once you learn what that machine's telling you, it gets a little more easier to listen to it.
I'm used to it now. I tell you, ain't you, Jeff? If we're not hearing a bunch if we're not hearing chatter, we're not happy.
No,
Right.
we're not.
Guys, we're coming up on a hard break right here. I've got a message that I want to run in, and then we'll be right back with you in 1 second. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garrett, XP Deus, Tesoro, and Macro detectors and supplies. He also carries a variety of aftermarket coils. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. We've all experienced those situations where we purchase a new detector and then we get out in the field and we have questions about settings or operation of that particular detector. Well, I tell you what, with your purchase from Murray Branch Outdoors, you're also going to get Tim's personal cell phone number. That's right, his own cell phone number, and you're just a quick phone call away from getting answers to those questions. Now try that with some chain store purchase of a detector. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll give you top dollar for your trade-in whenever you decide to upgrade. So give Tim of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 and tell him Relics Radio said hey. Just trying to pay some bills, guys.
There you go. I see Tim in there. So.
Yeah, Tim is in there. Tim, put your number in case people weren't listening to that there. Give Tim a holler. He's a good guy. Jeff and I are going to get to go down and hunt with him and Ron Reed, the Dig Dogs, on Saturday. Looking forward to that. I hope that we don't have a lot of snow. And speaking of metal detecting supplies and everything, Jeremy, you make a shovel, don't you?
Yes, I sure do. Yep. It's I've got more I'm going to be adding to the website. Right now I've got a 32-inch T-handle stainless steel shovel. And the good part about that shovel is, and the reason I started making the shovels, is because no names mentioned, but the shovel I had before just a lot of times wouldn't quite get you to the depth of the target. And my shovels, it'll get you down to 8 or 9 inches. So, and that'll get you underneath the target usually. And what I found myself doing was scratching and hitting a lot of targets with my other shovel because it didn't get me underneath them as the target. And so I built a shovel and started using it, and it worked out well. And I brought one of my prototypes down there to hunt with you a couple years ago, and so far they're working good.
I remember that, and it's a well-built shovel. There's no doubt about it. You've got a website. Why don't you tell us and tell everybody how they can get to your website and see that shovel?
Okay, the website for the shovels is jldiggershovels.equid.com.
Dot what?
.com.
No, the one before that.
Oh, Equid, ECWID.
ECWIB?
ID as in dog.
Oh, dog. Okay. If you're in the chat or if you're on there, go ahead and put that website in the chat, and everybody will have a chance to go and see that shovel. I saw it firsthand. I saw it in the field and working, and I tell you what, it is. Well, Nick Haas has already put it in. Great.
Yep. Nick's got
Thanks, Nick.
Yeah, and it is a well built shovel, but not too heavy to carry around, is it?
No. The prototypes that Joe and I brought down when we hunted with you, those were a steel shovel, and the new ones are all stainless steel. So they never rust, they never corrode, and they look nice as well as good performance.
Well, sounds good. I remember seeing the other one. Maybe me and Jeff need to pick one of those up to give away as in one of our giveaways. What do you think, Jeff?
Well, I'm thinking picking one up for myself. Of course, you're always fussing about my shovel, especially in the wooded areas. It's a big shovel. It works great out in the open fields, but you get inside the woods. Of course, we like hunting thickets. So, but yeah, I need to get me one for the thickets that goes pretty deep. So.
My stainless steel shovel weighs just shy of 3 pounds, so it's a fairly light shovel.
Yeah, that's not too bad. It's got enough weight to it where you can get a good stomp on it and then make it go deep. So.
Yeah,
I see we got quarter in.
I put a nice big foot landing on there too, and I was running into that with my old shovel, and my foot kept slipping off the shovel, and I just saw some room for improvement and incorporated that into my design.
Oh yeah, how many boots have you wore out with the small shovels like that, where you go to stomp it and it slips off? I know Seven. He had a pair of boots that had a big hole in the side of them from it. So
yeah, and I'm not going to mention any. Yeah. I'm not going to mention any names, but it was the shovel that I was using, Jeremy, whenever y'all came down to Kentucky. And that was my big problem. Right. I had 2 problems with that shovel. I couldn't get deep enough without doing 2 digs. I'd have to dig a pretty good sized hole and then go down in and dig again to get down, where if I'd had a longer blade, I could have dug down to start with. And the other thing is, as you said, the landing on that was so close to the shovel that my right foot kept slipping off, and I ruined a $120 pair of snake boots doing that. I actually cut through the side of those boots.
Brand new pair of boots, too.
My
what?
blade length on my shovels are on the one on my website right now is right at 8.5 inches. So that'll get you down pretty much on average soil. It'll get you underneath the target, and I made them that long because I can't tell you how many silver coins that I scratched with my other shovel.
Yeah,
And Quarter brings up a good. I cut my ankle pretty bad when he done it once before. So you could do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that shovel have the? Does it have holes in it where you can put the rubber pads on it? I know some of them do like that.
No, I didn't do that, but I'm working on some other designs, and I may do that on another design on the bigger shovel. But I could see where that would be a handy tool, for having the foot pads.
We've got another caller come in here. Who we got on the line?
Hey, this might have nothing to do with digging or anything, but I'm the mother of Jeremy Landrum.
Well, Jeremy, there is your mom on Relics Radio here. So good to
I'm in
have.
trouble now.
He found me a real nice sterling silver ring in Jackson, Ohio. It's the first drive-in movie they ever put in here years ago. And I don't know the year of my ring or anything, but I wear it a lot.
I think I remember seeing that, or him telling me that, one or the other.
Yep. I just wanted to let people out there know I'm very proud of Jeremy.
Well, that's just great. And I know y'all suffered a loss in your family, and I sent my condolences to Jeremy on that. And I don't know if he passed that along, but, you've been in our thoughts and prayers since that. We've been.
Yeah, we really appreciated it.
Yeah. My wife and I have experienced that ourselves, and I know how hard that it is. But so you're proud of Jeremy then?
Oh yeah, I'm listening to him right now. My name's Penny.
Well, have you got?
He's an inspiration to us all. So we love watching his videos, and he's doing a great job.
He is.
Yeah.
Have you got a question?
Very good guy.
Have you got a question that you want to ask Jeremy in front of to the listening of the whole world here?
Yeah, Jeremy, I think I lost my ring you got me, and you need to bring that metal detector over to my house.
I can.
There you go, Jeremy.
I just hope I haven't embarrassed him too much, but I've been waiting to do this for a long time, Jeremy.
Well, we're glad we're glad that you got to do it on our show then.
Me too. It made me happy too. So I'll let you go. Love you, Jeremy.
Yeah, love you. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
I tell you what, guys, my mom has been gone for a while, and you don't know how much that I would give just to hear my mom call in on this show.
Yeah, that's right. Yep, it's bad to lose them.
Yeah, it is, and we appreciate her calling in and sharing that with us. That was special. I tell you, it was.
Yeah, yep, and she's a great mother, and right before my father passed away, he really wanted to see these shovels take off and do well, and he kind of pushed me to keep going with it, and he actually sponsored me my first payment on the first run of shovels, so that was pretty good.
It is, and it's good that your family supports you in that. It
is. You see, Dave Miller, Jeremy, she was going to mention her long overdue pay raise for welding all those diggers.
Yeah, I could put the welder in her hands, and I'll tell you, she would try it.
Are you? You've got a fabrication background, don't you, as a fabricator?
Yeah, I'm a welder fabricator, and I've got a machinist background, and I've been into auto mechanics all my life. Yeah.
Well, then you've got all the tools that you need, talent-wise, to do what you do then. No wonder you make good shovels.
Yeah. But, all my shovels are jig built. Every shovel's identically the same. And I may have to send you guys one, and we'll see what we can do there.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
We have a giveaway. We hadn't had one since, of course, Jeff just lost his mother-in-law, and he's been out of sorts and everything, and so there's quite a few things that we hadn't been able to get to, but we're gonna, we're looking forward to getting to that again. And we gave away actually a Predator shovel, and we've given away a couple of Garrett pinpointers, and we gave away Josh Kimmel with Beyond Sight and Sound teamed up with us, and we gave away a Mind Lab Go Find metal detector as well. And so we love giving away other people's stuff. There's no doubt about it.
We do.
It's good advertisement.
It is.
It helps.
And we'd be willing to work with you in any way that we could. And if we had one, we'll put a plug in on the podcast as well for all of that. Well, we've done that tonight, but we do it in a more professional manner as well to try and help you out. Jeff, you got any questions that you want to ask him?
Well, I was sitting here thinking, what was the prices on the shovels?
The shovels are $85 a piece, and then I've got a standard flat rate shipping of $15. So it's $100.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you can't beat that.
Yeah,
some of the places that I send them, I mean, it costs me more than $15 to ship them, but I'll eventually get to where that the shipping is automatically priced on the purchase.
Yeah.
But right now it's standard flat rate of $15, but sometimes it costs me $20 or $23 if it goes all the way out west, but I pay the difference, and I don't worry about it too much.
Yeah. The last pinpointer that
I'll give you a call in a week or two, and then of course I'd really like to have one. So
yeah, that's fine.
The last pinpointer that we gave away, of course, I didn't say anything about doing it in the lower 48. Josh did on the metal detector, and I kind of thought, well, that's a good idea to do that. And we just had a random deal, and that thing went to Bosnia.
Really?
Yeah. I asked my wife, I said, you know where Bosnia is? And she said, is that on up above Louisville? I said, yeah, quite a ways. So you kind of have to watch, on shipping and everything, because I think the pinpointer cost me something like $30 to ship. So, I'm not fussing about it because we left the contest open, and that's the way it ran. And, didn't break me or anything, but you really have to watch on shipping, because those things, they can get costly.
Right. Yeah, sure can.
What have you got planned for 2018? Are you able to dig right now in your part of Ohio?
Yeah, you can, but we were frozen over, for a pretty good spell there, and anywhere you stepped outside of concrete, blacktop, or gravel, I mean, there was a layer like 3 inches deep of just solid mud. But things should start drying up here within the next few weeks, I'd say, and a person will be able to get out and dig, pretty easily.
Yeah. Dave Miller's got a question.
Yeah. Got it?
No, go ahead, Jeff.
Okay. Well, Dave Miller's asking, ask Jeremy, have you thought about building a few probes for pit hunting in Virginia hunts?
I've thought about adding something like that. I'm going to keep adding more items to the website as it progresses. But yeah, that may be something I look into to making.
Well, not only for Virginia, but hunting these old home sites, old house sites, finding the privies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, that was one of my next questions, but Dave beat me there. But I mean, yeah, I didn't know if you made them or not. So, of course, I had one, and then, of course, I think my youngest stepson had found it, and I can no longer find it. I'll find it with a lawnmower, probably, knowing my luck.
Yeah, probably. Then you'll need some new blades for your mower.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ohio Relic Hunter is in. Welcome to Bill Marsh there. Appreciate you coming in. Jeremy, what did you got planned for 2018? Anything different? Any new promising sites that you've researched?
Well, I've got a few sites lined up for when I get a break here and get back out to hunt. That's something else, and that's why I mentioned that when I do find a site and talk to the landowner, I found one site last fall, and I went and talked to the landowner, and that, just by me asking about that one site, turned into 5 more permissions on his property of home sites that he knew about. So, and those weren't even on the map. So they could very well be colonial sites. He said that when he would plow, he would find pottery on certain spots. And I'm excited to. Those will be the first places I hunt as soon as I get back out. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, I love when that happens.
And that's always a good indication is, whenever you talk to the farmer, if they've plowed areas or disc areas, they always, there's some spots that they know of that they've seen some pottery come up, and that's a telltale sign that you've got a house site. And if it's not on your maps, it's an old site as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it may even be like a little community or something if it's on the same property. So. I know a lot of places, Seven I hunt. I mean, of course, you have a few colonial sites on the same farm, and then, of course, they all pretty much tried to stay together back in the day for protection.
Yeah.
So.
And the further north that I hunt, it's around Indian territory. So what you find there is when you do find a site, that's how it works in that area too. You'll just talk to the farmer, and there'll be 4 or 5 more sites on his property.
Yeah. Do you do any Indian artifact hunting?
Well, I found my first 2 artifacts. The last time I went out and hunted, I found an axe head and an arrowhead.
That's a great first find.
Yeah, but the problem with it anymore, nobody deep plows anymore, so they're not really turning that ground over to where it pulls that stuff to the surface. So it makes it harder to find.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah, that's the way it is here. We've got the no-till, and I mean they plant corn and soybean, and I mean you get up a little north from here. Well, in between Seven and I, like Macon County, they still raise a lot of tobacco, so they still turn the grounds every year. But I mean, over the years, them fields have been hunted pretty hard. So,
right, and if I get on an old site and it's been in a field where it's been deep plowed, I've found large scents just sun baking on top of the ground, and then you might dig the next one. It might be 10 inches deep.
Yeah. You can't ever tell. And I tell you what we found here, we had a lot of Native Americans here. And if you find a house site that was, say, 1870s, then there probably was a house there in 1812 or the late 1700s, and there was probably an Indian settlement there. Who knows how long ago, because they all look for the same things with, in building a home site. You got to have good water, and you wanted an elevated site. So, if it was good for the Indians, then it's good for the colonials, and then it's good for everybody else, So if you find it, you've kind of got layers.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt Purdue said he's swinging in late.
Swinging in late. Hey, Matt
I
Purdue.
I saw Bill Marsh. I hunted with Bill Marsh at the 2017 CWPPO hunt. He's a nice guy.
He is, and I talked to him and Mark Hoover about teaming up and coming together on the show. We've already got all of February booked, but I'd like to have those two guys. And he said he only lives 2 hours from you, hint, hint. And
yeah,
me and Jeff are thinking about making a trip up that way. We'd love to come up there and hunt with some of you guys.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, I told you a long time ago, anytime you want to come up, we'll get together.
Yeah. Maybe we'll get a hunt.
Yeah, it's not that far of a drive for us. I mean, it's really not. So
no.
No, Joe and I drove down to U7, and I think it was right at 6 hours, I think.
Yeah. And me and Jeff drive further than that, going to DIVs. You mentioned something a while ago, and I wanted to ask you about the CWPPO hunts. I'm really interested in those. Tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, last year was the first one I had ever been to. I mean, I had seen where they had some in the previous years, and I thought if that ever makes it over my way, I want to go to one. They call it the Civil War Preservation Project of Ohio, and I'll tell you, it's a great group of people that come in from all over. I met Mark Hoover this past year and got to hunt with him. He's another really nice guy. But I mean, it's just a good time. I mean, we didn't find a whole lot at the property this past year, but like I told everybody, not one person found a great deal of finds, but all 144 diggers together saved a lot of really great history.
Now, do you turn your finds over to that organization?
Yeah, it goes to it went to the property owner this past year.
Yeah,
so.
I don't have a problem with that. Bill McDougall.
No, I don't either. I mean, we're just trying to save the history is what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And Ohio Relic Hunter put it in their CWPPO.org, and Bill McDougall said that he's been to 2 of those hunts. I'm really interested in going to one of those because they are kind of centered around John Hunt Morgan's raid up into Ohio. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, see, John Hunt Morgan, in his first Kentucky raid, his first battle was about a mile from my house, and that's the Civil War site that I've been hunting for, I don't know, I guess it's going on 4 years now, 3 or 4 years. And that's where I've hunted at every day that I've hunted this week, and I'm still finding stuff, still going slow, and especially in the woods and everything, you got a lot of stuff to move around and everything, but I'm really interested in John Hunt Morgan stuff.
Yeah, I watch you guys dig these 3-ringers, and I've still not found my first one, and it tears me up every time I watch you guys digging those things.
Well,
I'll tell you what, buddy. We'll get you down here, and we'll find you a 3-ringer. I mean, they're pretty much. I mean, you have to hunt for the pockets, but I mean, as soon as you find a pocket, I mean, of course, like I said, I've been blessed where I live at, and we had a lot of troop movements in my area, and I mean, you can find a 3-ringer pretty much anywhere. So, and then, just whenever you get down this way, we'll get you a 3-ringer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to dig at least one. You know, I'm not picky. I don't have to dig 40 of them or 50, but I'd like to find just one.
And you got sword belt plates, and you don't have a 3-ringer.
Yeah, but see, I found that sword belt plate when Morgan came into Jackson, Ohio. He held a bunch of troops in one location. And I found that belt plate, I'm wanting to say maybe 100 yards from where he held everybody. So I need to go back and hunt that field because I've got a feeling there's more stuff in there, you know. So it's hard saying what's in there, but, you know, you never know till you dig it. But I'm definitely going to go back to that field and see if I can find some more good stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm sure that there's stuff there. Quarter Hoarder said that him and the Nibbler are going to go to CWPPO this year, and said it might be fun to all get together with everybody. I'm game for it.
Matt said he was there in 2016.
Yeah, I'm game for it, and I know Jeff is. We like that.
Yeah, I mean,
we like that kind of hunting, and you know, get to meet a lot of people. We seem to have a lot of people out of Ohio that support this show, and we certainly do appreciate that. But, you know, I want to meet all those guys, you know?
Yeah. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot of these guys that I haven't even met, and you know, and most of them only live an hour from me. Yeah.
Bill Marsh said he only lived a couple hours from you there. But, yeah,
he does.
That'd be great. You guys shoot us an email and tell us, you know, when the sign-ups are or what have you, and send us an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com or on our YouTube page or on this thing here or something other. You know, let us know.
Yeah, I talked to Quarter Hoarder, and I think he said... him and Nickel Nibbler and Jeff Plugmaster Ford, they're all supposed to come to the next one. So, you know, maybe you guys can come up this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Quarter Hoarder just put on there Plugmaster Ford is meeting us there too. So.
Oh, yeah, I see that now.
Yeah, I want to get in.
Barb.
Yeah. Hey, Barb, I want to get into one of those CWPPOs. Sure do. Jeremy told us that he had some other obligations and that he could only run about an hour, and we're just about a little over a minute from that. Jeremy, once again, if you will tell us how they can get in contact with you, your YouTube channel, your website, and all that kind of stuff.
Okay, of course, JL Digger YouTube, and then they can email me if they need to email me at jldiggershovels@yahoo.com, and they can visit my shovel website at jldiggershovels.equid.com.
And somebody put that website in the chat. So if you want to look,
Nick Haas.
Yeah, if you want to look at Jeremy Shovels, then run over to that website. And I saw the prototype in 2016 whenever he came down to Kentucky and hunted with him and Joe. And it is a well-built shovel. And I tell you what, Jeremy is a fine guy. He's an accomplished hunter. And we appreciate you being on tonight, and wish.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me.
wish you the best of luck in
we sure do.
2018. So if you've got other obligations, you just feel free to get out, and we'll talk to you later. Then we're going to continue the show just a little bit longer.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and look forward to getting together and doing some hunting together, you guys.
I do too.
Yep, it was our honor. We're glad you come on the show.
All right. I'll talk with you later.
Okay. Talk to you later then, Jeremy.
All right. See ya. Yep. Bye.
That'll open up the lines. If somebody wants to call in, it's 270-495-0315, and I think we've got everything fixed up now where we can take your call. We've had trouble with that before, but
well, his mom called in earlier, so I see Dave Miller put he's got a great mom. Yes, he does.
Yeah, if you missed that part of the show, you'll have to come back in or go back to the archives and listen to it. And Ohio Relic Hunter put the number in. Appreciate it, Bubba. 27.
Yep, Barb did too.
Barb did too. We only thing that we will remind you of, some of our supporters and backers, this is a family-friendly radio show. So if you call in, watch your language. You can cuss me out after you hang up.
Barb said, beat y'all, laugh out loud.
Jeremy's a great guy, and he was a good guest for us tonight. And look forward to hunting with him. Look forward to going up that way and meeting with some of these guys, don't you, Jeff?
I sure do. I can't wait. And then I seen a comment earlier. I was going to mention it, and it went on. Jeff Ford was getting some kind of reward tonight for his talk show for the wildlife. I'm not for sure who that was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Let me see if I can scroll back down and find it. It's not working right. So, but anyway, congratulations, Jeff, for your reward. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, I'm sure it's well deserved. So,
yeah,
he has a real good talk show.
He's a bear hunter, I'll tell you.
He is. He's a good bear hunter.
He is. In fact, the picture that he sent whenever he was a guest on the show was him holding a little cub bear there, and he's a character, I tell you.
He is. So I love hunting with him. He's a great guy. So
yeah.
Have you heard anything about DIV-7?
I haven't. Barb's been watching that for me, and Chris Hamsoff said he's getting an award from Missouri chapter of the Wildlife Society, the Andy G. Rung Award, for what he's done with the black bears. Well, congratulations, Jeff.
Yeah, congratulations.
We know a celebrity.
That sounds like a pretty big reward.
I believe it's an award, not a reward.
Well, award. Somebody would have corrected me sooner or later.
Well, that's what I'm here for. I'm the old man in the house.
Okay. All right. We're just two rednecks with a metal detector.
That's it. That's our motto right there. Just two rednecks with a metal detector. Guys, I've been out.
So what are we going to do this week?
Well, we're going down to Murfreesboro, Tennessee on Saturday. And we're going to hunt with the Dig Dogs, with Tim Henderson and with Ron. And I hope that we're going to get on a Civil War site, maybe a colonial site. They said that they found some good stuff down there. So I'm looking forward to that. I hope the weather holds out.
Oh, yeah, it should. I think the high, Saturday is like in the 40s, so it should be pretty good. So.
Yeah, I can deal with it.
I'd sent them a map of Rutherford County. Of course, they had a tax map like Sumner County does. It was 1878 tax map, so hopefully that helped them some.
Yeah, maybe they'll find some other old sites there. And, I've got to get out and hunt quite a bit this week. I've been hunting the Civil War site that I've hunted forever and ever and ever, but using the GPX and working with my settings on that And Barb says I'm down to number 19 on the alternate list. I think I was 22 yesterday. So that's good. Maybe I got a chance.
Well, see, the way you do, I mean, the way I've seen it in the past, and I've been on alternates list more than twice, and then of course they finally say, well, if you want to go, just send in your money, and then let's hope that happens anyway. You've got a room ready to go. So.
Yeah, and I've got a ride because Earl from Virginia told me, he said, I'm saving you a seat in my vehicle. So I've got everything except Rose and John telling me I can come, I got the money sitting here ready to send to them, too. And Barb did send me she sent me a message one night. I was downstairs watching television and came through on my phone, and she said that they had put the thing in there that if you were on the alternates list and you still wanted to come, to respond to that thread and say yes. And so I did that immediately. And, there were some that didn't. There's quite a few that didn't, and there's still quite a few that haven't paid. So hopefully I've got my fingers crossed to get in. And I know that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel good about it, but I mean, it should be a good site. I mean, what I've heard, and you have people trying to guess where it's going to be, but nobody really knows. But I mean, the way they talk, it's supposed to be a good site. So
Barb said 14 haven't paid, and the deadline was yesterday. So that doesn't quite get to me, but that's 5 more. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see whether I get in or not. Jeff and I were talking about we would actually drive up on a Thursday, and we were talking about doing a live show there at DIV on that Thursday night. And, of course, we won't be able to do that, if I don't go. Because I tell you, Jeff can't do it.
No, you've got all the equipment. So.
Yeah. And Nick Haas,
I could do a live Facebook feed.
Yeah, you could do that. Nick Haas wanted to know how much it cost, and Barb answered it, $250. We went last year, and I enjoyed it, had a good time. And I've got my GPX since then, and so I'm anxious and learning about it quite a bit. And I'm anxious to get out there and use it in Virginia now.
Yeah, and you done real well with the TDI that you borrowed off Randy Shull. I mean, you done real good with it.
Sure did, especially having.
I can imagine if you get up there with the GPX, I mean, you may get all the bullets and buttons. So.
Well, you've hunted the 44 woods. Well, that's where I've been all week, and I'm gonna tell you something, guys. I've got a real good video for episode 165, and I've got one unbelievable hole that I dug that you're going to have to wait and see on.
Oh man! I can't say nothing.
No, you can't, and I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, come on.
About what you found. And Jeff's got a good find in our upcoming video this next Tuesday, episode 164. Don't miss it; it will be worth the watch.
Yeah.
I just, I watched it.
You see what Matt put on there?
No.
Maybe Jeff can pull a Tanya Harding on a few alternates. That was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Maybe I'll get in, hopefully.
Yeah, I've got my fingers crossed, so.
There's a lot of people that we know that go to DIV, and we met some of those, but I think that there's more people that go to the CWPPO that, are subscribers to our YouTube channel and are on the radio show here. And,
It does sound like it, because there was a lot of people in the comments that, like, they've been, and even Matt said he'd been in, I think, 2016, and, I mean, it sounds like a real good hunt. How much is that hunt? Do you know?
I have no idea. I'm sure that Bill Marsh and them know, and will say. Barb said that she did that last year, and that was. I looked on I looked on their Facebook page. They've got a Facebook page, and you are able to see what happened last year, but they're not. She said $40 for the hunt. Goodness,
$40. That's not. Yeah, that's. Bill put 35. Well, either way, 40 or 35.
Do I hear 25? Anybody 25 going once?
25, 25, 30, 30, 30.
I tell you, any hunt is worth $40 or $35. I mean, you could afford to, have your gas money and motel bill and all that, But she said everything goes to the Historical Society, and that's fine with me. All I want to do is dig it and document it and film it, and just go with it from there.
See, that'll be the place me and Barb finds our CS plates this year.
You think?
And we'll have to turn it over to the Historical Society.
Oh man, that'd make me sick. I tell you, if I found a CS plate and I had to turn it over, yeah, that would be a problem with me. I'd do it, but it'd be a problem. Hey guys,
it would. It'd be hard, but
yeah, it's just we're an hour and 10 minutes in. We got a little bit more time. If somebody wants to call in, 270-495-0315. We're going to hang out here for just a little bit more. Then I'm going to go get me some supper, but I can hang on for another 15 or 20 minutes.
Oh yeah, I figured Barb would call in. So she's like, not me. I would say I lost it 150 years ago. Well, Seven, you could get away with that. I couldn't.
Now, I'll tell you what, you ain't close enough for me to slap you. We do have a call coming in right now. Tim Henderson is on the line. Hey, Tim, how are you? Hey, Tim.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hey, I thought I'd call in before you ran out of time for a few minutes.
Well, we're glad that you did. Looking forward, brother, to being down there with you and Ron on Saturday.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
I talked to the landowner last night and verified everything, so we're good to go. Actually gave us permission to a new site, too, that I haven't had a chance to research yet, but it's supposedly about one of the second highest points in the county. So it's right along the route to Manchester. So there's a good chance, there could have been some activity up on that hilltop.
Now, are these Civil War sites?
Sounds like a great place.
Are these Civil War sites we're talking about?
The one site, Loy, is one that Ron and I have been back to. We actually took Bird Dog with us back there, and that's where we went hunting that old house that was on a 1916 map, good enough I could get coordinates. And when we got back there, we before we found the house, we found an old Civil War picket. That's where we found a peace flask and parts of an Enfield rifle and some buttons, and looked like the stuff had been in a field. It was a lot of short cedar trees. You could tell it used to be a field one time, and evidently the farmer, he might have hit it with the plow, and the peace flask, he had pitched it. It was cut in two, and he had pitched it up in the rocks up on the edge of the field. That's where Ron found that, and then I found a bayonet there too this last winter, and it was kind of chewed up. Yeah. So Ron pulled it was a 1854 half dime between the house and the Civil War campsite, and then we got into a pretty good little bottle dig at the house site. So we thought about taking y'all there so you could use the PI machines and see maybe what might be deep that we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I'm excited now. Can we go now? I'll meet you down there. Give me an hour.
We've got.
I feel like we've hit it kind of hard, but we don't have the PI machines, and I think the biggest coil on a machine that's been back there thus far would be the stock AT Pro coil. So I don't have a PI machine, so I'm going to take one of my big nail coils that I've got on my AT Pro. It's one of the largest ones, so I'm going to take it and see what I can do.
Yeah, that
So I'm
sounds.
gonna go ahead and ask you if Loy and I, if we start finding a lot of bullets and stuff, are you going to buy you a PI machine?
Well, if it'd be a little less painful if I could become a dealer first, but
Well, yeah. I bet.
there's a pretty good investment there. I think they got a $5,000 entry just to start carrying their units, so I got to work on that. But yeah, I might consider it, working it in the budget definitely if y'all do some really good there and I start seeing some results from it. Then which I know the PIs will go. They'll go deep. So,
Well, I'll just tell you, I've got this Civil War site that I've been hunting for 3 or 4 years now, and I hunted the fire out of it with a AT Pro, and hunted it with the Mind Lab CTX 3030, and hunted hard. I'm not talking about just going over it. I mean, I got down and worked slow in these areas. And I've been out for a little while, every day this week, I think, but one there, and it's just unbelievable what you're able to find. And for the most part, they're real good signals. Now, I have dug a lot of nails this week, but I don't mind doing that if some of those nails turn out to be bullets, which sometimes they do. And like I said, you won't see it until episode 165, but I've got one amazing hole. I have something I've never done in my life. I mean, it was a great dig, no doubt about it.
It's killing me, Seven. It's killing me. But I'm going to keep it hush-hush. I'm not going to say anything.
Well, I ain't going to say anything about your find that you have next week, although I want to chop your little head off.
well, I can't see how you can get past that ring.
Man, that was I'm still kind of in shock over it. And then if I hadn't have been hurting so bad that day, I mean, I would have started doing cartwheels across the field. But I mean, that was a great find, and I'm still doing the research.
I got tickled on y'all's reaction on that. That was funny.
That was the find of a lifetime right there. And the thing about it is, Tim, we didn't know exactly what we had there in the field. It took us, it took another week or so of doing research and looking at the ring and everything to really understand what we had. And the further that we went along with the research and everything, the more spectacular that find became. And I was really pleased with the video that we done on that, and I was pleased with the second one. And heads up, episode 165 is another one of those documentary type Civil War videos, and it's the Battle of Tompkinsville, this site that I'm hunting now. And I like that format, and Jeff and I have got some information on another site that is in Monroe County here as well. Actually, we've got some information on 2 different sites, so we may be able to add another episode to that segment of those kind of videos. I like doing them where you have the music like that and you explain the site and the camp and the activity and everything that was going on. Matt said he's looking forward to 165. Matt got him a GPX. And was going to take it to the Button Tree. I hadn't heard anything back from him. He may be sitting on some stuff that we need to know.
Yeah, he may be. I mean, of course, Matt, he's always going to pull one of them nice buttons out of the ground.
I'll tell you what, in that old sandy ground, call us up, Matt. Tell us what's been going on over your way. You hang on there, Tim. Don't get off. But
okay.
I'd like to talk to Matt if he's had that GPX out, or Barb somebody else call in. I just want to see. I just like getting things on Skype. We've had so much trouble with the thing.
Yep. Did you see the comment that J. Doug posted on that ring find? He'd found a silver when it belonged to a private, and he found it local around his house. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's a shield ring.
Oh, really?
A real nice find.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Well,
we talked about it a little bit.
I may have, but I answer so many different comments on videos and everything. I answer everybody, and sometimes I'll have 10 or 15 or 20 of them at a time, and you really can't. And I'm old too. My mind don't. I can think about something. I can't tell you what we did at the first of the show.
Well, first of all, we couldn't get a hold of JL Digger, and then then you had called me back. So
that was before the show. I don't know what happened on that deal right there.
I've had some crazy stuff going on with my feed. A sentence will repeat itself, or I'll hear y'all say a sentence, and then there won't be a skip at all, and it'll go right back and repeat that same sentence, and then it'll move on. Like I was lagging behind.
I noticed that on Beyond Sight and Sound last night, where it repeated 2 or 3 times, and I think that is probably something with Spreaker. It could be something with Skype, but I think it's something with Spreaker. I don't know.
Well, I was in through Spreaker, and my wife was in through Facebook, and she heard your bumper for me come in about 3 minutes before I heard it.
Oh, really?
So somehow I was on a delay coming in through Spreaker, but she was through Facebook, and it seemed to be feeding sooner.
Well, I was scared to death because we're having, it started raining this afternoon. It ran me out of, I was hunting the picket post today, and it ran me out of the field, and it was supposed to turn to snow, and I guess it probably has now, and I was afraid some redneck could run over a light pole and all the electricity go out right in the middle of the show. You know how we are.
Looks like Matt said he's got to run. He can't call in.
Okay. Well,
sorry about that, Matt. But
you holler in to us, Matt, when you get out with that GPX and keep us updated on stuff. He sends me a text every now and then, or calls and talks. And Matt, his business is going to start bringing him up around the Nashville area. And so we're looking forward to getting together maybe a little bit here and hunting with Matt whenever he's in our area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I got some more permission from this landowner. I need to talk to you about that when y'all are down. I don't see anything on the maps on it, but just it being a high point strategically, it might be a good hilltop to kind of work our way around and just see what we come up with, kind of like we did when we were hunting that house.
I've kind of got a.
Yeah, sounds like a great. It sounds like a great site. I mean, water sources. Does it have any water source nearby?
There are down in the bottom. So definitely down in the hollows of that area, there's some known springs that have been there. And we're kind of in the triangle here on the east side of the county. So they were over up into the Kittrell area and. Obviously down into the Manchester, and we found sporadic areas of artifacts just off in the woods, all in this area. So they were kind of running all over the place through these glades and these old road beds and creeks. And so for us, it has to start out, like, okay, let's just take our metal detectors and go for a hike and see some scenery. And then if we start seeing some signs, things like that, I know that further on past this property, there's some old foundations this landowner was telling me about, but it's not on his property, so we can't get to those. But I know the area has been productive up in the hills. There were a lot of Confederate troops, used those hills for cover when they did some of their guerrilla warfare that they were doing on the Union soldiers, and so they were kind of running all around here.
And that's what we need to find because there's all kind of Union stuff, all around us here. And there should be, Murfreesboro was kind of a Confederate headquarters for a while, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they pushed back and forth, but yeah, it was definitely Confederate, and they had their stronghold until till the Union troops came in, and so there was a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of guerrilla fighting right in this area. You look back in the ORs and some of the records, and they talk about the Confederates coming in at night and, shooting through their camps and just causing chaos. And, those guys camped out somewhere, and they camped out in small bands and groups. And that little picket that we found, that was the last thing we were expecting. We were just relic hunting an old house site. And that seems to be how we come into a lot of our Civil War stuff is doing that, unless we're on a specific area, that we knew was Civil War. But we've been playing with these detect coils and these NEL coils. Once I became a dealer for them, I got some of them in, and Ron's been using that 13-inch Ultimate Double D detect. I had one, but a guy, one of my buddies, saw me digging that officer's button up there where Ron took you, Loy. Saw me dig that officer's button at about 8 inches deep, and he bought that coil off of me the next couple of days after that video. So,
well, there you go.
So now I just traded him. He's wanting the what is it, the sharpshooter, I think it is.
Yeah.
For his AT Max, and so he gave me a nail attack for the AT Pro that's probably not been used twice. He wanted to swap even for that, so I'm going to take that attack out Saturday, since I don't have a PI machine. It's a 15 by 15, so I'm going to take it and just see if I can go deep. We've been having pretty good luck with these large coils on the AT Pros, hunting some sites that we've hit that's got iron. And what we're doing is, you talk about going slow. I made a comment. These guys around here laugh at me. I call it massaging the ground, because I'll sit there and I'll make a signal happen. It's like my machine it'll give me a sign when I go over something, an irony area, to give me a sign, and it's not always a big piece of iron. Sometimes I'm hearing that iron, but I can get turned just the right angle, like rotating a clock. It might be at 2 o'clock. I can sit there and move that coil back and forth about 2 inches and get it to sit there and bang on an 80. And sure enough, I'll dig out a pistol bullet or something. It'll be 6-7 inches down, and I'm just squeaking it out between that iron, just going super slow.
And that's what a lot of beginners do not understand. They will grab a detector, they'll run breakneck speed across a field, and they're pendulum swinging, and the coil's never really hitting the ground, even in front of them. But then by the time it gets to the side, it's 8, 10, 12 inches of air. And one thing that these coils do not like, guys, is air. Keep that coil on the ground. And like you say, sometimes you really have to work to get a signal to finally bust in and lock on. But when it does, Bill McDougall says weed whacking. That's what they're doing. They're weed whacking. And then wonder why they can't find anything, Then get mad at you.
That's why my coils look like they do, because, my coil is pretty much touching the ground the whole time.
Mine is.
That's just what it's going to take. So,
and it hurts your arm, because you're pushing it around in that grass or brush or whatever, leaves and all that stuff, and it's a lot more work, and you're not able to hunt as much, but you find more.
Well, that day I went up there to where Ron took you, Loy, and I went the next weekend with Ron, and he had to leave. He wasn't feeling too good, so he left early. And I think the whole time I was there, probably 4 hours of detecting, I couldn't have hit an area more than, maybe about 80 by 80. I just started gridding it and just kept overlapping and just going real slow, just listening to all the junk that everybody else has passed up. And I dug some junk just to get it out of the way, but there was a few where I dug iron, and then I would hit a coin down there underneath it that I heard squeaking, but I wasn't sure. But that's how I found that button and that 1901 Barber dime, just slow crawling right there in a small area.
And talking about,
it's funny. It seems like it seems like your detector pulls the signal out of the ground. It's kind of hard to explain, and then if you try to explain it, it kind of sounds funny. But it seems like your detector just pulls the signal out of the ground if you're going real slow, and then you're touching the ground with your coil.
Sense, because it's like Lois said earlier. It's trying to process a lot of information, and the deeper the target is, and especially if it's got iron to confuse the machine or to make it have to think more, then you got to slow down and give it time to process those signals. And sometimes you can. I've had times where I thought I heard a signal, but when I sat there and worked it, it went away. And I would come off of it, let the machine settle out, and then come back onto it, and I could get a signal, then it would go away. And a lot of times those were not good good holes. But then on the other hand, there's times where I thought I heard a little blip and then came back on it and just started working it and kind of rotating. And I could sit there and slice through that stuff and get that good signal to squeak in just enough to give me confidence to dig it. And those seem to be the ones that produce a little something. I dug a piece of a pocket knife the other night. Before our meeting, I went to one of these little spots where we'd found a camp that's just really easy to get to. It's actually at one of our rental properties. And I was just back there. I was actually playing with the XP. I had the XP and the AT Pro. And I would use one till I got a signal, then take the other one and listen to it, just using them together, trying to figure out the XP and get more comfortable with it. And I had the AT in my hand, and I got good iron signal, and it was giving me a nice little high 80 squeak in there, just one certain position. It would give me that little squeak, and I dug it, and it was a half of a Civil War pocket knife. Still had a good blade in it and had the hinge in it, and even that, even though it's iron, it's still a nice find.
Yeah, there's
and a lot of times when I'm searching, I'll do figure eights, and then of course, especially if I'm in an old home site with a lot of square nails, I'll do figure eights, and you're hitting it pretty much from every direction that way. Mm-hmm. And I have found quite a few buttons just doing that, going over old spots that I've went over before.
And just go in a circle, slowly rotate around that signal, and because that thing's shooting that ribbon effect down on these double Ds. At least that's mostly what I'm using is double Ds, and you get the iron in there just right and get a good signal laying in there just right. And sometimes it's all about just that slight little change in the angle. You can get it to chirp in there for you.
Well, I did a video on slowing down, and I'm a firm believer in it, and I will grid out a spot. I've done it in the 44 woods and found a lot of stuff in just maybe a 20 or 30 foot square area, and you just have to discipline yourself. Why do you want to hunt the whole site and not find anything when you can just slow down and hit one spot and just see what's there? And talking about getting junk out of the ground, I've done this twice this week, guys. Somebody has gone in there and dug a hole and dug a modern shotgun shell and thrown the thing back down on the ground. And obviously, whenever I come through, if I find one of those like that, I'll pick it up and put it in my pouch. Twice this week now, I've picked up about 10 shotgun shells, but under 2 of them was a Colt 44. So, you got to get that junk out of the way where you can hear the good stuff. And you need to get your junk out of the field anyway,
Everything deep I've ever dug with these nail coils and these detect coils, if I had been going fast, I'd have never heard it. The machine would have never had time to respond to it because the signals were faint and they were a little bit delayed. If you know what I mean, you're going over it and it's 7-8 inches deep. And so that signal's faint and it's delayed as to how it responds as you're coming over it. And if you're going fast, you're never going to hear it.
Yeah. Jesse Rogers said Jeff's got one short leg, and that causes him to circle hunt. Well, guys, we're over an hour and a half. We're going to have to close things out here pretty quick.
Well, Jess, I guess that circle hunting does good because I've found a lot of good finds in the past few years.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of liken it to a buzzard circling in around them gold rings. You circle all you want, brother. You're doing good.
No, he did that. Yep. He did that day. He had one little spot, and you could tell by the video he dug everything in the world. He had nails and bullets and the ring and everything. But going slow.
Well, I'm excited about Saturday with those units up here. So we'll see what we can come up with. Maybe it'll be something special.
I am too, and we will.
What's Bird Dog say? High hopes, low expectations.
Well, whatever, I just like to hunt. There's no guarantee, that you're going to have a good hunt anytime that you go out. I've had those days, but then, I'm game to go out again. Well, guys.
That's why they call it hunting and not finding.
That's right.
That's right.
You got anything that you wanted to say, Jeff, before we closed anything out here?
No, I'm good. So, I'm ready to go hunting now. So
I am too.
Got me excited.
Go get.
I'm going to work in circles.
Yep. Go get all your stuff together then, and y'all hang on the line, and I'll talk to you as soon as I close everything out. I'm going to go ahead and mute y'all right here, and go ahead and close this one out. Certainly do appreciate everybody in the chat tonight, everybody that was listening to the show. Appreciate J.L. Digger. He was a great guest, and looking forward to talking with him again and maybe going up to Ohio and hunting. Looking forward to maybe meeting some of you guys up that way at a CWPPO. But anyway, we're going to close the show out tonight and appreciate all of you being here. Thank you for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We certainly appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 6 p.m. Central Time. That's 7 o'clock Eastern Time here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iTunes, or iHeartRadio. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Diggin' with 7 or Tennessee Jeff. Or you can check out our Facebook page, Relics Radio. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to digginwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope that you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.